Today, we're going to pursue a very strange tradition in the Philippines. If you lived in the Philippines, you sure wouldn't want to die. This is the Republic of the Philippines, consisting of 7,641 islands and islets, large and small, in the west of the Pacific Ocean. There are not only islets in the Philippines, but also strange customs. More than 90% of the population in the Philippines is Christian. This is a very important detail, so listen carefully. 51% of the Christian population is Catholic, and 10% of the population has adopted Ecclesian Christianity. 11% of the country is made up of Muslims. Each religion has its own unique customs, belief forms, prayer shapes and privileges to connect with the Creator. But a 2,000-year-old custom will make you forget what you know. The Igorot clan living here continues a tradition of about 2,000 years, almost like the first day. In the Philippines, seniors undertake a very interesting business before death. Every elderly people waiting for death prepares their own coffin without any help from anyone. And the coffins that the elderly have prepared with their own hands, oddly enough, are not the same as in the Christian faith, so they are not under the ground. The dead hang on the abyss to be buried in their coffins. The elders who are members of the tribe do not go and buy a burial place for themselves. When they die, they find a cliff place for their bodies to be buried with their coffins. Rest assured, this terrible sight has perhaps prevented the event we have described from fully taking place in your mind. Because if you look at it, on these walls, these boxes hanging by this cliff are actually coffins, and they contain a corpse. It's really scary when dead people's bodies hang on the cliff in a coffin. There are two reasons why coffins hang on cliff sides. Think about what might be the cause of this, please. This is Luzon, the most populous island of the Philippines in terms of population and the largest island in terms of area measurement. There are many varieties of plants and animals in the Cordillera Mountains. Both the barn animals and the wild wolves, the coyotes, are famous here. Pets graze there, while wild animals feed on other creatures in nature and survive. In this life cycle, wild animals eat and consume whatever comes to them. Unfortunately, there is also dead human flesh in the food chains in order to survive. That's one of the two reasons coffins are hung on the cliffs in the Philippines. The bodies have been standing on the cliff edges for thousands of years. Members of the Igorot tribe bury the bodies under the ground, not wanting the animals to harm or eat them. Also, the idea of cliff graveyards was found by the ancestors of this tribe, who thought earthquakes and floods would damage corpses. There's another reason why the bodies are hung on a cliff with coffins. In the Philippines, these tribesmen think that by hanging funerals high, they'll be closer to heaven. There are also chairs near coffins, if you notice. These chairs are actually part of the cliff graveyards. What do you think this Filipino tribe, who bury funerals with coffins on the cliff edge, could be using the chairs for? A guard is waiting in turn for the coffins? Or are there these chairs so the visitors of the dead don't get tired, so they can sit down? No, neither. These chairs are made by old people, who make their own coffins with their own hands. It's really hard and unbearable to be old in this clan. The fact that a person prepares both coffin and a chair next to it with own hands may be the most interesting situation that can upset morale in life while is alive. Though death is an inevitable fact, a truth that human beings cannot change. Let's go back to the chairs again. The elders prepare these chairs by carving tree stumps in the surrounding area. They don't sit in the chairs they're preparing. When the old tribesman dies, their body is put in dead chair, which is the wood, before it's put in a coffin. Then the corpse is smoked with leaves and blankets, delaying decomposition. The body's been sitting in a chair for quite a while. Thus, relatives can pay tribute visits to funerals for a few days. We're going to show you a different coffin from the dusty archives of history. These tribesmen used to use much smaller coffins. The reason is that in the past, coffins were kept shorter in length, so the dead are placed in the coffin in the fetal position, just like in the womb. Sometimes the elders, who were tall, had broken bones so that they could fit in the coffin years ago. There's a very interesting reason for this. The Igorots used to believe that a person should leave this world in the position he or she came into the world. This was a rule due to the belief in creation and respect for the creator. However, the dimensions of the current coffins are made almost close to 2 meters. Let's come to the burial procedures. When a Filipino tribal member dies, metal bars are struck on the perpendicular side of the cliff to make the coffin stand still on the cliff before the Indian cane leaves and its body is put in the coffin. This used to be done with trees before bronze, copper, and iron were discovered. Relatives of the dead are waiting for liquid to drip on themselves from the body of the dead, who are collecting water, in the belief that it will bring them luck. It's really hard to bear, but tribesmen do it comfortably. In the Philippines, cliff graves are dwindling day by day. Now the tombs that are up to date are more functional. Due to the development of technology, tribal members fear of the possibility that wild animals may eat the corpses. In case of disasters such as earthquakes and floods, it is unlikely that the graves will be damaged. Igorots prefer to live out of sight in the Philippines. They live in the north of the island of Luzon, in a valley where strong winds are abundant. They are adept at growing rice because the valley floor is wetland. It is easier for them to live on the mountain slopes than to walk on the straight road. This clan, which has been living by growing rice for hundreds of years, lost their old traditions when road transportation to the valley was opened. So along with the highway, new customs arrived in the old village. But it's good that he came, we can say. According to written sources, the Igorots were hunting humans hundreds of years ago. The tribe was living a wild life beyond the guesses. The Igorots are not much of a danger these days. At least they haven't been seen eating any of the tourist groups who've been to the area. Some clan members are said to have assisted the incoming tourists as interpreters in English. Former clan members who provide interpreting and guiding services to tourists say that most traditions left over from their ancestors have dwindled and disappeared. The Igorot guides, who do not want to talk about the fact that they are manhunters, say that they will continue their thousands of years of traditions by hanging their dead on the cliff forever.